All right, tonight, guys, I want to do kind of a review of a watch that I just put together for Homer. I did that mod video, but that thing was like 20 minutes long. I got to figure out a better way to flow that out. I don't want to subject you guys to 20 minutes of me fumbling around with pieces and parts. So let's take a look at the watch and we'll talk about what the thought process was behind this style and everything like that. Now, this watch was already a mod watch that Nick had built, and then Homer picked it up from Nick. Excuse the smudges and everything. So it's a used watch. It's a used SKX, and Nick had already done the NH36 with the Roman day wheel and a bunch of other stuff, but Homer wanted to return it to its first iteration, which included the padi dial, the Turtle SRPA 2-1 padi dial with the Marine Master 300 hands. And then we kind of evolved into Homer figuring out what he wanted to have in his own personal style, put into the watch. So he kind of was gravitating towards the 12-hour loomed black ceramic bezel, which brilliant blue dials with the black bezels look amazing. Jonathan was the first one that convinced me of this when I built that guy, which has the Blue Lagoon turtle dial in it with the 007 black surround, and that thing looks amazing. And there's, for the most part, I don't think anyone's going to dispute that. So the padi dial is a little less vivid blue, but still really nice rich blue, especially when you get it in natural sunlight. So overall, I mean, it already started out with a really good build, even the way Nick presented it. So, and then of course it has the Angus Jubilee bracelet. So you can see the changes we did. I'm going to talk about those real quick, and we're just taking a quick look at the watch. But and then I'm going to give you a breakdown. And then in the description, I'm going to give you that same breakdown of what parts were used and the price of them. I'm not going to provide links for everything. So hopefully, you guys can just search it up yourself. I know I'm not allowing you to be super lazy, but I'm going to tell you what we used and what the cost was of it, and then you can go from there. So the movement, the day wheel, the dial, and the hands, all that were in the watch and the bracelet were all carried over from the previous mod that Nick did. So what Homer and I changed on this thing was we went with the Murphy bezel. And the reason we went with the Murphy bezel, because as far as I know, that's the only bezel out there that is bi-directional. And as soon as Homer convinced me that he wanted the 12-hour bezel insert, I'm like, we have to use the Murphy bezel because that's the only way I'll do it. That's the only way it makes sense to me. I'm the same boat with most of you guys that don't understand putting the 12-hour and certainly the 24-hour without a GMT hand. But if you do it on a Murphy bezel, you can turn this guy either way. So now you can track different time zones. So say, this is set up for 9 o'clock and, so we'll leave this at 0 so it's not in play, but say the hour hand there is pointing towards 9 and say you want to track somebody that's 2 hours behind you, you can just put the 7 over there, right, on the hour hand, okay? So now and once you set that, then this ring here is keeping track of that second time zone. So now when you look at the hour, as you progress, into, you'd put it, right higher. So that the hour hand it's 9, but at your buddy's house 2 hours behind you it's 7, 15, 16, whatever. Does that make sense? I mean, you guys get it, but you can quickly do that. So even if you're traveling, you want to stay up on the new time zone that you're entering or leaving or whatever the case, you don't have to reset your watch. You just turn your bezel. And this thing is stiff. It is not going to move. You're not going to bump it or anything like that. So we did the Murphy bezel. I took the spring out. I read on their website, you can do the spring in or you can do the spring out. It turns both ways. There's no clicking, ratcheting things in there. So I'm not going to leave the spring in. So out with the spring. You use a fresh gasket in there and you put a little bit of silicone grease on it and you're golden. So the next thing we did after the Murphy bezel is I did the DLW no bevel crystal with clear AR. And I gotta say, this is probably one of the better crystals I've used. Now, I've only done a few, but the fit on this using their DLW insert is like perfect, and it turned out just amazing. Like the fit and finish on it is just perfect. And I have to say, I'm convinced now that I'm a fan of the clear AR versus like a blue AR. It just looks very clean. So there's still one more change I'm going to do to this, but it's negligible. This crown and stem, I think, is, you know, a fitted one where you fit the crown to the stem. I'm going to swap that out for a factory OEM SARB 059 stem and crown system. I like the factory Seiko one. It's just tighter feeling. Let's see. Other than that, I think that's the main changes we did from when it was a Nick mod to now a Random Rob mod with Homer speccing the parts. So let's talk about the prices. So the Core SKX, which this was originally a 007, but you know, 007, 009, the prices are about the same. This is another mod that was just sent over that this is going to get the build next. This is the full build, but this is a bone stock watch. These are about $215. Prices vary. I know there was a mass drop recently, so you can get them cheaper. So that's $215. The insert was $44.50. The crystal was $44.50. The Murphy bezel is $43, and I don't remember if any shipping was added on any of these. The Murphy bezel was $43. The Padi turtle dial, I think you're roughly going to pay about $100 for it. I mean, you might find one a little bit cheaper or it might be a little more expensive, but roughly around $100 for most aftermarket, or not aftermarket, but factory turtle dials, if you can find them on eBay. So I look on eBay, guys. That's where I get them. You just run across them. The Marine Master hands, if you can find them on eBay, if you can even find them, you're going to pay at least $110 for the set. That's just the way it is. So if you want those hands, you're going to pony up and you're going to pay that much for them. There's nothing wrong with the stock SKX hands or the turtle hands. They are totally fine. They look great in this case too, but this one has the Marine Master hands. The Angus Jubilee is hit and miss if you can even find it right now for the SKX, but you're going to pay around just over $100 to $110. The NH36 movement, you're looking at about $40. The Roman day wheel that is changed out inside this, and you'll actually have to change over a gear too from the SKX 7S movement, which there's videos out there and all that stuff, but the day wheel added into this movement is an additional $17. And then that SARB 059 stem and crown that I'm going to put in here, those are about $60. And then it's always a good idea to have, whether you use it or not, but it's always a good idea to have an extra gasket kit. You know, so you're looking at the gasket for the crystal, the case back gasket, and then the crown and stem gasket. Just have extra those on hand. You may be able to reuse the stock ones, but don't count on that. Make sure you have that stuff on hand. So, you know, roughly about $20. I did just notice I'm going to probably order in, I forget the other mod company. They're just now stocking the Viton gaskets. I think they're a different brand, but it's essentially a Viton gasket for the case back. So I'm going to bring those in. I'm going to actually start using those on mods coming up. And then the factory gasket for the crystal, you know, just get the OEM ones. And you can get those on eBay or Esslinger or whatever. Like, you just search around. Some of the mod companies have them. Sometimes they come with the crystals. You know, like this is a Crystal Times case. It comes in the case. So, you know, just figure that stuff out. So if you add up all those prices, without keeping this video going super long, if you add up all those prices I just read out to you, you're looking at approximately an $800 watch. Complete, to recreate this thing, you're looking at about $800. And that's doing all the work yourself and not including all the tools or knowledge or whatever that it takes to make it happen. Just the parts, $800. So, yeah, I mean, it's a legitimate argument that people will have that modding an SKX is insanity. Being into watches and buying all these watches is insanity. You know, Nick, that does a lot of the knife videos and some watch videos, he jokes. I mean, it's only half joking. He's actually being serious about it when he says, don't get into watches. There's some truth behind that, guys. Don't get into watches, and then certainly don't get into modding. You know, that's like, It's just crazy. That's like getting into modifying cars or anything else in life. If you're going to go deep into it, you're going to end up spending a lot of time and money obsessing over it and modifying and honing, your collection or whatever. So like you can spend, a basic mod. If you say you already have the SKX and you just want to do a few things to it, say the crystal bezel insert and maybe a bezel, those are pretty basic stuff. You're talking another $150 right there, and that's doing the work yourself. So when you already own the watch, you're putting another $150 into it, and then you want maybe an Angus Jubilee or an Uncle Seiko bracelet. There's another, anywhere from $60 to $110. So yeah, it's crazy. If you're not into modding and you're not into SKXs, I don't even know why you're watching this video. So all right, now the video's long enough. So I'm ready for the comments, and I'm ready for you guys to bring the hate or the love, whichever one you want to do. And then don't forget, Nick had that crazy case back that was probably another $800 on his, but that's a whole different, that's next level stuff. So we're not even going to do that. We're just doing kind of more stock stuff. So thanks for watching, guys. This is getting modded. This is getting remodded. This is getting a full build. And just so you know, there's a reason why I bought this turtle, because this guy's going in there. So that's going to happen. It's going to take a while, but that's going to happen. Thanks, Homer, for speccing this build and letting me, dabble with it and everything. And thanks for all you guys for watching the vids, because it keeps me going. So see you real soon on the next video.